Katie Kelley with Long & Foster Real Estate, here with Lori Orders of By the Bay Designs, bringing you another Happy Hour Haven. So for our first guest appearance, we have a general contractor by the name of Matt Kelley with Evergreen Building Group, who also happens to be my husband. And we're here on one of his new builds down in Shore Acres. And he was just going to give us some tips on, basically 3 tips, on what you would tell someone getting ready to either do a major renovation and or a new build, just to kind of help them through the process.
Okay. The first tip I would say is have a good interior designer. I can recommend one to you. But that being said, also your selections are important. That's what keeps the process moving along. Consistently keeps things on schedule. There's always more to pick than customers typically think. People tell me their done selections are usually about 75%. The second thing is your budget. Staying on budget is important for everybody. We try to bid the jobs out as much as we can ahead of time, but there are some unknowns, so we'll deal with allowances, which can be confusing for folks. So take the time to understand how allowances work, and always give yourself a little bit of a cushion, 10 to 15% above where you want to end up for unforeseen things, especially in remodeling. New construction is going to be more you spending money on things that maybe that you want that you don't realize until you start the process. And a third thing maybe would be figuring out the space, not only for how you live today, but how you're going to live 5, 10 years from now, moving on. Whether you have little kids now, they're not always going to be little, so a good builder, good designer will give you a lot of input on things that maybe not be permanently built into the house, but meet those needs as your life changes, as your kids grow or you grow and age in place, things like that. There's a lot of things you can do up front during construction will save you time and money down the road.
Perfect. That's good points, and I think that lends itself to what you do as well when you work with Matt a lot and other people. Just making selections is overwhelming, and
very overwhelming.
And I do hear that from both of you quite a bit. So just having someone there to help with that helps.
Just try to mainstream it and narrow it down, because really the options are endless.
Right, and it holds up construction.
Yeah, everything that is selected has to be ordered. So
right.
I think some folks feel like they make a selection and then why isn't it there the next day?
Right.
Almost everything has a lead time, and then obviously there has to be schedules for contractors, subcontractors to install whatever materials are ordered.
Right. Yep.
And then I also think just basing, because you mentioned budget, and I think both of you are good at this, is trying to kind of figure out where you can save on finishes and things like that, because when you're doing something so big renovation or new build, you kind of get carried away with everything that you want.
Right.
So I don't know if you have any comments on that and just areas where you can kind of save a penny.
Yeah, I would say personally I would recommend, like for bathrooms for example, you do the most amount of money to the master.
Sure. But
you can save money in your kid's bath, for example, by doing a less inexpensive tile and maybe a cultural marble top, things like that will save you money.
Yeah, and there's other things that are important, like this house that we're at today is on the water on the Maggie River. It takes a beating from the elements, so windows, doors, those are important. Spend the money there. You're not going to be replacing those like you may be replacing a bathroom in 15 years. Like even cabinets, things like that. You can always add trim later, change paint, but there's certain things, the bones of the house. You hear people talk about that. That's important to get right the first go round.
Perfect. All right, there's some tips from a general contractor. Thank you to Evergreen Building Group for being our first guest appearance. There's another Happy Hour Haven. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.